So, just how deep are the Spurs?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're in the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kings 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you all back. And happy Wednesday, happy hump day. You're almost through that stretch run of the work week, and we'll get you through it right here on Locked On Spurs, talking all things silver and black. Your first and only spot, all things San Antonio Spurs. Subscribe over on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Kens 5 Plus app. You know what to do. Subscribe right now. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. What are we talking about today? We're looking at just how deep are the Spurs. And you look at their current roster as it stands, it's not too shabby. But despite that, is there one glaring thing that kind of stands out? We're going to talk about that when it comes to their depth, as well as get into some Spurs news. David Jones Garcia got a little scuffle. Yeah, wasn't quite Malice at the Palace, but man, it was kind of close. Also, catch up on the Trey Murphy III news, and then TP. Yeah, Tony Parker wants to be a head coach. Yeah, he said it. He's ready. We're going to talk about that and more. Let's go and bring in our guest. He is back, everybody, Mr. Casey Viera. He's on X at Casey_Viera with a cool background there. Look at all that. You got the wrong jersey, though. You got the wrong jersey hanging on the wall.
It is something that we will keep a little bit later on that has continued value that will benefit my son's education.
We'll say that. Wait, I'm assuming it's autographed, right?
Yes.
Nice.
Otherwise, it would not be on the wall. Otherwise, it wouldn't be on the wall like that. No.
You see, I'm okay with non-autographed jerseys on the wall. I'm okay if it's like for a show. Okay, fine, I get that.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I am too. But thankfully, I had a very lucky opportunity with that one. So
yeah, I bet. What year was that? What your jersey year?
I think that was 22.
So that they're still in their peak power, right? They're peak power GSW, right?
That was a championship year. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And when I got it,
now
that you pointed out that way, when I got it, they hadn't won the championship yet.
Oh, so that's pre-Powerhouse Warriors.
That's
championship ranking.
Well, that was I mean, they wore that uniform that year.
Yeah.
I would
and also too that's still like when they're still in Oakland. No, right? Yeah, they're still in Oakland and moved to San Francisco.
They were in they were in Chase Center by then.
Oh,
they were in Chase Center by then. I know because they changed their home slightly on the years when they moved to Chase.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I digress. We're not talking. I'm not here.
Yeah, this is not Locked On Warriors. I just saw that. I was like, all right, I guess.
I do have some other cool stuff.
Okay. What's that? What's that right there? You got a Spurs basketball?
This is the 03 ball.
Okay.
Not signed.
All signed. Look at that.
And then I feel like everyone's got one of these, but
yeah, you go. All right. You redeemed yourself, Casey. You redeemed yourself. Oh, we got more, everybody. We got more.
Remember when these were a deal also in the year 2022? The DeJounte.
I remember everybody like getting in line at
they were wrapped around the wall.
Yes.
Yeah, they were wrapped around the wall at the AT&T Center.
Yeah, I remember that. I think at that time you were I don't know if you were at Ken's yet, but
yeah, I was at Ken's. That was
the
first few weeks.
I think it was Vinny. I think Vinny went out to the arena to film all that. But now you can find them at discount stores, everybody. Seriously.
Which is where I found it for $7.
Well, look at that. I don't know if it's a wise investment, but hey, it's a fun investment.
$7 you want to fill out some decor.
Yeah. All right.
And then
good stuff there. Oh, we got more. There's more.
There's more. I haven't unboxed this one yet.
Let's see what you got there.
But
we're having a live unboxing right now.
I know. I haven't
live pre-recorded unboxing
thing. that I feel like every San Antonio needs to have, but believe it or not, I've never had one, even marrying a San Antonio.
You got there.
An original prayer candle.
Oh, well, now you're in, Casey. You're in. It's now.
Yeah. Even though this was not in the championship years, this was from 16. If anything, a terrible year.
Yeah, that was not a fun year.
If anything, a year that not have the best clothes many Spurs fans wanted.
No, sir. But nevertheless, that prayer candle, that puts you in the upper crust of Spurs fans right there. I think it's mandatory that every Spurs fan have a prayer candle in the kitchen, the bathroom, just somewhere in the house, just anywhere. All right. Well, Casey,
story here. The place where I got the DeJounte ball and also the candle. They also had a Richard Jefferson jersey.
Oh God, I think you should have gotten that one. Just for
it was like $30. I was like, all right, I draw the line there. I'm not.
Oh well, you know, yeah, maybe that is a little bit too much for RJ. Though it would have been hilarious if he showed up to the Frost wearing one. If he wore that jersey.
I don't know.
I think fans would have said, like, you know what? Okay, that's kind of funny and cool at the same time.
Yeah, I would have probably claimed that.
Hey, well, he was your guy up in New Jersey at the time, the New Jersey Nets, when you're out there. Yeah. That was when the Nets were. That was when the Nets were still that top East team. Remember that they went to like something finals in a row or something like that, like 2 or 3 in a row.
They went to
2. Yeah.
I mean, he was a classic wing. You got him on the move, and he was throwing that thing down at the rim. He was pretty electric.
All right.
But anyways,
he was. Anyway, yeah, everybody. So why is Casey here? Because we're talking about San Antonio Spurs depth. Yeah. As the roster is getting tooled and tinkered around and all that stuff from the draft, Dylan Harper to recent pickups, Kornet, Olynyk, the Spurs are assembling a pretty solid squad on paper. And they're pretty deep, Casey. Start off with the centers. It's Wemby, Olynyk, Kornet. I think that's pretty solid there. You look at the guards, or I should say guards. Today's NBA, there's no point guard or shooting guard, but nevertheless, it's Fox, Castle, Harper. What else we got out there? We have, that's pretty much it. Unless you want to count Jordan McLaughlin and Adam Flagler, but nevertheless, again, a pretty deep there as well. Throw in small forwards, Vassell, Keldon, Champagny, the Barnes, the list goes on and on. And just on the surface, Casey, they're pretty deep, but I want to twist it a little bit here. Yes, they're deep at almost every position, I think, and I'm pretty sure that, with the exception of the guard spot, not because they don't have the horses, they don't have the manpower, is because once you look at Fox, the experience level just plummets. So you're looking at Harper, a rookie, hasn't played a single minute in the NBA. Then you look at Stephon Castle, great rookie season, rookie of the year, but again, still that unproven commodity. Can he do what he did last year again? And likely have to start share more minutes as opposed to last season where he was thrown in because they desperately needed players because of the injury bug. So let's start off with the guard spot. To me, that's perhaps maybe their quote-unquote weakest spot is because of the lack of experience. What do you think?
That's fair. Fair because I think for what they're trying to do and make the playoffs, you're trying to get as many experience-laden players out there. Mm-hmm. And at its core, they're still a very young team. From an experience standpoint, like you said, from an age standpoint, they're likely going to be close to the youngest team. I'd imagine Utah or Washington's, maybe not Washington because they got a bunch of OGs at the back end, but probably Utah is going to take that number. But either way, they're one of the youngest teams in the league, and when you're trying to compete in the postseason deep, where how many teams they get to that point, and then what ultimately gets them, it's the lack of experience. So that is a hole that they are going to have on this roster. But you can only get experience by going out there, and this is deep insight, going out there and experience, right?
Wow,
That's
look at
the
that.
only way you're going to be able to get experience. So it's in many respects not the worst flaw in the world to have.
Yeah,
because there are many worse things that you could have. You could be void of talent at that guard position, and they have 3 guys who certainly are not void of talent. At least 2. Harper, we're assuming as much as well, at least what we know. So it's not the worst problem in the world to have, but I think you're right. I think experience at times is going to be an issue with things, especially when they start playing more important, pivotal basketball down the stretch, for sure.
Yeah. And you look at today's NBA, it's all about that guard spots, from SGA, Lou Dort, their combo guy, Jalen Williams. The list goes on and on. So, I mean, hopefully, as the season progresses, and it will, as far as their experience level, as Casey, you mentioned, they're going to get minutes, they're going to get time. But the only thing is really for me, if we're going to look at that guard spot, I know Fox is Fox already. That's who he is. He's already established himself in the NBA. That's Fox for the rest of his career. So if you're looking at Castle and Harper, of those 2, I think Harper is going to probably have more of the microscope on him because, Castle, you had a good opportunity to show out and you took advantage of it. Your 3-point percentage wasn't that great, but it was spiking at moments during the NBA season. So that's pretty good. So I think you're going to see how he adapts, knowing that he's going to now have to share the spotlight with Harper, who all signs are pointing that he's going to have a pretty solid rookie season and maybe shake the trees a bit on the roster, which kind of leads me to this question then, Casey, for you is, okay, fine. We're nitpicking here as far as the experience level, but if you look at the depth as a whole, oh man, can we say this is probably one of the deepest teams in the league?
In terms of
at almost every position.
In terms of competent players, I think so. But another thing you have to remember, for as deep as they are, a lot of those guys we're not particularly sure they're going to play. Right. I mean, the luxury that they do have when you have that many guys in the first part of the season is that you can kind of experiment to see what works, what doesn't. We have a void. Are we going to be able to play? They're going out there and they're saying, can they play Victor back at the 4 again? Because Kelly Olynyk is a better stretch 3 than Collins was, if it doesn't work, do they try the Cornet aspect of it to go heavy defense with that? Does that did neither work entirely? And they end up in a spot where Victor's best maximized at center, and which we all, I think, kind of feel like at least. And then you go with like Barnes or Sochan or whatever that combination may be at the 4, Vassell, whatever it may be. I do think that, though, you can't do those things unless you have, of course, the opportunities to do that, and that comes with depth. So while some people associate depth with like, okay, next one goes down, next man up. That is true. That for sure is true. But I also think what depth means is that they have a luxury of being able to experiment or mix and match and experiment with what works and what doesn't in this first part of the season. And then once they get it figured out, some of those names won't be seeing the floor, because as the games get more important, that rotation is going to get a little bit tighter and tighter and tighter. And you're going to see what maybe 10 some nights go down to 9, 8, essentially, and then a 9th man getting sporadic minutes in there as well. But in the immediacy for the first quarter, third half of the year, I think, the experience is something that's going to be on their side, or the being able to experiment the depth is going to be on their side.
Yeah, couldn't think of a better segue. We're going to talk about that coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. All right, so what will that second unit look like? There's been kind of some debate among Spurs fans right here on Locked On Spurs as well, like who's going to be off that bench. Let's talk about that coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs with Casey Viera. Follow him on X at Casey_Viera. Hey, I want to talk about Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts. even what they're worth, right? So whether it's 401ks, properties, investments, and when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without even touching a spreadsheet. Hey, how about maximizing your investments? What about just increasing your savings rate? What about just easily reviewing finances with your partner or maybe your financial advisor? That's where Monarch Money comes in. It'll help you do all that and more. Keeping a clear view of your financial health week to week and long term. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. Hey, we're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Casey Viera. He's on X at Casey_Viera. You want to follow him ASAP because he's just a cool dude. And you got to rag on him for hanging a Curry jersey on his wall, Spurs fans. You got to do that ASAP too. But you know what? I still think the candle. You made it up with the candle.
You what?
The candle made it up. I forget about the candle. So I think you're good.
Family heirlooms got to start at some place, right?
Yeah, we got to start somewhere. All right.
So why? I got to start somewhere.
Yeah. So why is Casey here? We're talking about the Spurs depth, and in the first segment, we kind of said, yeah, that's kind of pretty deep, considering everything from the additions they made. Harper. The only thing we can think of is just a lack of experience at the guard spot after Fox, and as Casey mentioned too, that rotation getting tighter as the season progresses. But outside of that, they seem like a pretty solid, deep team for now. But which begs the question, and a lot of Spurs fans are talking about this, Casey, and right here on Locked On Spurs too, is all right. So yeah, they're deep, but who's going to come off that bench for you? So I have this, and let me see. This is just pie in the sky dreaming here, Casey. And if Mr. Johnson was here, he'd probably just laugh in my face. I would like to see. Now, this is not a complete second unit. This is just like the top names that I like to see come off the bench. Keldon, Devin, and Sochan coming off that bench. What do you think?
So you're starting.
I'm basically
big.
I'm going Harper starting. Big. Yeah, double big and Harper starting.
Well, you can't go double big and Harper starting.
Yeah, you can, because you'll have you're right. Sorry. Yeah, that's right. You have, so in that case, then my starting
you got be three guards, Barnes and Wemby.
Right, there you go. Right there.
So are you going to go the double big? Oh, okay. So you're going the three guards, Barnes.
I'm doing the three guards, yeah.
Okay. So what are you asking me then?
I'm asking if that's just pie in the sky dreaming, because Sochan seems to be the kind of like, if there's one consistent name that gets thrown out in the starting unit, it's him. Yeah. And usually the flippable name has always been Vassell.
Right.
Vassell's when you got to sacrifice, But the allure of that for me is just you're having three guys that have starter experience for the start of their career, 5, 4, whatever, how many years they all been together, coming off that second unit. I'm not saying Harper would start immediately, but I think eventually you may see that happen where Harper's probably going to force this coaching staff, Mitch Johnson and all of that crew, be like, we can't keep this guy for like 12, 15 minutes a game. This guy's balling out. Vassell, let's have that conversation. Sochan, let's have a conversation. I think that would be a devastating second unit. I mean, maybe it's a little pie in the sky because ultimately I think it'll be Sochan starting when when it's all said and done. But if that's my wish list, I would love to see those three guys come off the bench. What about you?
So, question I have with that then, which of the three guards is going to be the point man of that second unit then?
Yeah, and that's the fault there now.
I mean, because it's going to have to be one of those three because they'll stack in those minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
if that's the case, then who are you flipping out then? So let's just say, okay, Harper or Castle come back on the bench. Who's going to be going back then?
Well, no, I'm just saying in that second unit though, because they're if they're going with those three guys, there's nobody else to, like you said, there's nobody else to play point guard. So which means they would have to stagger, which is fine. If they'd have to stagger the minutes between the three guards.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the three. So you'd have the Vassell, Keldon, Sochan, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
You have Olynyk or Luke Cornett.
Yeah.
That's 4. So who would be running? Who do you think would be most adept to run that unit?
Maybe Keldon. Probably Keldon.
You're going to have Keldon run point of that unit.
You said it's Keldon,
Sochan. Yeah,
Vassell.
Keldon, Sochan, Vassell, one of the bigs.
Okay. Then you go back to what Sochan doesn't want to do, play point guard.
So who's the 5th?
Yeah.
So who's so you're going double big. So you're going then Olynyk, Cornett, and then the 3 guys you mentioned. So you're
still talking about the reserve unit, right?
Yeah, but the point that I'm making is it's the reserve. Obviously, all 5 reserves don't have to be on the floor at the same time. So I'm saying
right.
You're gonna have to put a point guard. So Fox, Castle, Harper, which of those 3 are most adept to put with those other 4 guys? Excuse me. That's what I'm asking.
I would love to see Castle be a part of that.
Excuse me.
I would love to see Castle be a part of that.
I was going to say Castle
that
too.
Yeah.
I was going to say Castle as well because I don't know if I trust Harper enough with that yet.
Exactly.
But we talk about the shooting so much, and that lineup, if you're going with like a Castle, again, then this is the luxury of being able to mix and match. If you're going with the Castle side of it, you're probably going to have to play Olynyk because he's a better shooter that helps your spacing. If honestly, now that I say that, if you're going with the lineup like you just said, you kind of have to go Olynyk because you have between Castle, Sochan, and Cornett, even though Cornett can shoot, he hasn't been shooting, but he can shoot a little bit. That's what we're going to say for this conversation, given that he didn't shoot last year, that he's not a great shooter anymore. That's 3 out of the 5 guys can't really shoot. So they're almost like, if they go with that lineup of Vassell, Sochan, and Keldon off the bench, you almost have to play Kelly Olynyk.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
You almost have to play Kelly Olynyk at that point,
which is not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing, but I'm just differentiating the Olynyk part versus the Lee Cornett part, because you're going to having 3 guys on the floor for a team that's not exactly known for their 3-point shooting, anyways.
Right,
is not ideal. So go back to your overriding point, I guess, of the thoughts on those 3. Probably just depends who else is out there, because I think you can make it work. I think you can make it work, but you gotta. I think Olynyk is what makes a difference at that point.
I'm expecting just multiple lineups to start the season. Just, I want to say maybe from game to game, maybe from week to week, because they try to figure it out. Is Harper better as starter? Is he going to be? I mean, you heard Carter Bryant say, during summer league, like, oh, he's a vocal guy. Yeah, Harper, he talks, we listen. But that's just in summer league. We'll see what he does when he got vets out there. Probably not. So maybe he's a better suited coming off the bench after all. Harper just stays on the bench and leads that second unit. Don't know yet. Obviously with for preseason for and training camp is for. But it's something about the allure of just having guys that have starter experience now coming off the bench is just something that I really, really like. But you're right, who's going to be leading that charge? Who's going to be the floor general? That's going to be the big hole moving forward. I mean, unless you trust Jordan McLaughlin, Casey, There you go.
I trust Jordan McLaughlin playing the point more than I do Sochan.
That's for sure. All right. So who would you like to see coming off that second unit?
I think I'm probably going to have to go with the Sochan back in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to stagger the guards and balance things out, I think what makes the most sense is Harper, Vassell, Keldon, and Olynyk. We have to talk about Julian Champagnie a whole lot too. How he?
Oh my God! Yeah, there you go. You see, we're talking about how deep this team is. You see right there.
We haven't even talked about Julian Champagnie.
Yeah.
So, I guess the perk of being able to mix and match, right? Because if you do it, and now that I say that out loud, I feel like you're better suited having Harper come off the bench in terms of balancing out the rotation, because I think the lineup that you have out there, Harper, Champagnie, Vassell, Keldon, and Olynyk / Cornet, that lineup makes me feel a lot better. To take if they're gonna go 10-man, I like that rotation a whole lot better. If it means taking Harper out of the starting lineup to do that, I would do it.
And it just goes to show you, because you mentioned the Champagnie's name. We forgot about him. He's a pretty good player. He's not great, but he's pretty good. Good floor spacer. I think slightly underrated for his defense. He plays pretty. The numbers show that he's a pretty good defender. So Vassell seems to be the name that pops up a lot as the guy that's going to get to the second unit. But Barnes doesn't get mixed into all this. Why not Barnes? Why not Barnes be the guy that comes off the bench? You need that veteran presence.
Well, I just think Devin Vassell is a better shot creator and scorer than Harrison Barnes is. Harrison Barnes makes most of his offense as a floor spacer, not particularly as you show a picture of him dribbling. I was going to say, as makes most of his offense as a catch and shoot spacer. I think Vassell does a better job creating, and I think that's why you would go with Vassell off the bench, because you need that a little bit. But that said, if they do elect to go with the 3 guard front, well, I'm going to catch myself here. I'm going to put pause on that. I think Vassell's better suited coming off the bench for that shot creation than they would.
There, I got you. There you go, Casey. I got you. There you go. It said shot creation, and I put up him taking the shot. There you go.
There it is. So you swap him and Barnes. So, and in this world, you're putting Harper on the bench still, right?
Yeah.
You're with you. This
Harper still on the bench, yeah.
So, Harper, Champagnie, Keldon, Sochan, whatever center. I don't like it. I'm not crazy about it. No, I'm not crazy about it.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw this, but
I need to sell off the bench. I do.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think you're gonna see that happen as season. I mean, I wouldn't take the starting unit on game 1 opening night for the Spurs on the road at Dallas as any type of sign that that's going to be the unit for the entire season. I think you're going to see it, and I think you're going to probably see Vassell switch to the bench eventually. And Harper, he has to say the right things, but he was on a recent podcast talking about that he's anticipating coming off the bench. I think, and he's talked about it. He said, like, hey, James Harden did it in OKC. Why can't I do it? So I think he's resigned to that. So if you're looking at some sort of...
And then did you see a lot of the fans are just like, where did Harden go before he started playing?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But so if he just revealed already, they had a conversation with him, like, yeah, you're in the second unit. So, but we'll see. But I just got this feeling that he's going to force that coaching staff to really reconsider how many minutes he gives. because of the three guards, he's the one with the more unique skill set.
Minutes or place in the rotation?
Minutes,
I think he's going to get his minutes either way.
Yeah,
they'll increase more, but I think he's going to get steady minutes from the jump.
But if he's going to prove that he's like a lethal player for a starting unit, I think you got to have that conversation.
I think it also depends how they're doing. Like if they're winning, bringing him off the bench, they're not going to put him in the lineup.
Right. Yeah, they're
if they're getting to like the midpoint of the season and they're 5-6 games under 500, I definitely I don't think it would get to that at that point.
Yeah,
deep for the season where they would wait to put him in. But we'll say they get to like first 25 games, maybe a little bit more. Well, we'll say like the first 30 games in there. I don't know. They're 5 games. Yeah, we'll say 5 games under 500. I think at that point you can make the switch. But on the other side of the spectrum, if they're at 30 games and bringing them off the bench has you 5 games over 500, I don't think you change anything up at that point.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Julian Champagne is a name forgot. We didn't even mention Carter Bryant. You mentioned him.
Yeah, well,
but
I think, and I even said this on draft night. I could be wrong. I'm not coaching the team. I thought Carter Bryant was a project player year one. And there's still, he was great. Not great. He had moments of greatness, but he was really good in the summer league. But I think the way things are laid out with this roster right now, there's just not, barring injury, there's just not really a path to the floor this year.
Yeah, there is.
Right.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's an avenue aside from injury that gets them there.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But again, back to the whole topic again, just how deep the Spurs are. If this kid shows, you see on your screen, Carter Bryant, that he is that defensive beast that we saw in the summer league. And, I just got that feeling. By the way, quick aside, that Austin Spurs team is probably going to be really good this year. That Austin Spurs team is going to be pretty good next year. David Jones Garcia, Carter Bryant.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be really good. But, hey, again, the Spurs definitely have depth, even that stretches into their G League team if they need to do some call-ups and injuries or load management days. We shall see. But, it's going to be interesting to see how Mitch Johnson navigates, which seemingly on paper is a deep roster. But, Casey gave out a few thoughts. I gave out a few thoughts. What are you thinking about this second unit? Who would you like to see coming off that bench? Something ridiculous, like I said, 3 former starters coming off that bench? Or maybe like Casey said, no, maybe it could work, but you got to have a 4-gener on there. Let us know. Let Casey know on X at Casey_Viera. Let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. Hey, we get back. We're going to talk about some Spurs news you may have missed. And Casey, maybe the Spurs found their on-court enforcer. Yeah. More on that.
They've been looking for it. They've been looking for it.
Yeah, they've been looking for it. Guess what? He showed up. We're talking about that coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, I want to talk about open phone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about it, the last time you had an urgent need, and maybe a plumber or just whatever service you needed to get done ASAP. Well, that person didn't answer, right? And you probably moved on. That's why you need open phone. Open phone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from an app on your phone or computer. Open phone lets you manage business calls, texts from a single app. You get a shared inbox, which is pretty much a game changer. Your team can jump into any conversation without even missing anything. And they got an AI agent that handles after-hour calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so you never miss a customer. OpenPhone is offering listeners 20% off their first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's OpenPhone.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have an existing phone number with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Casey Viera. He's on X at Casey_Viera. Hey, some rapid fire Spurs news. if the Spurs need an on-court enforcer because somebody's messing around with Wemby or maybe Carter, somebody on that roster, Stefan, and whoever, they might have it. David Jones Garcia has been suspended for 2 games at the 2025 AmeriCup FIBA tournament. He's playing with Team Dominican Republic. He got in a massive brawl with Team Argentina, and it was not the hold me back. It was, fists were flying, and and leading that charge in a bad way was David Jones Garcia. He was seen on video clocking a few guys. One guy even dropped to the court. He did issue an apology. He apologized to the Dominican Republic, to the Spurs. Said the Spurs expect more out of him, but unfortunately, lesson learned, I guess. He's going to be suspended for 2 games for Dominican Republic moving forward in the tournament. So more on that at kens5.com/Spurs. Other Spurs news, Tony Parker, he admitted he wants to be a head coach now, and he's eyeing the NBA. Parker of the Big Three has been the one that's least involved, quote unquote, with the team since retirement. Manu's still working with them, player development, TD, assistant coach for a year, still hangs around the club. But Parker has been kind of in and out. He's nothing personal. I think he's just, Parker, he has handled almost anything in France, from horse racing to poker to teams out there. He's just a busy guy, but he's finally willing to make the next step and go into the NBA. Hey, maybe Coach Tony Parker down the road. And finally, I want to get Casey's point on this before we let him go. Casey, buy or sell these Trey Murphy III rumors? What do you think about that?
Sell for now.
Hey, that's an
Talk to me in
right?
February. Talk to me in February. Maybe.
Hey, he's an upgrade.
He's a good player. He's
Holy
good.
Smokes.
Yeah.
He is good. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
all right.
They need it. It's not going to happen before the start of the year. Of course, by the time you release this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just jinxed it, everybody. Yeah, we just jinxed it. All right, we got to go, everybody. Hey, Casey, thanks for hopping on here at Locked On Spurs. Once again, make sure to follow him on X at Casey_Viera. Do that right now. Let him know about that Warriors jersey, all right? Let him know about that.
Don't act like if the opportunity presented itself, you wouldn't capitalize.
Yeah, I think I would do too. I would never let myself get over the fact that I had an opportunity to talk to Michael Jordan in New York City at a Team USA event when he was and I didn't. He was standing right behind me, waiting to go on the court to do a speech. And
I have a story. Yeah, I have a story. Oh, finishers.
Whoa, and I had friends in front of me, like pointing to me. They were trying to tell me he's behind you. I thought they were just saying like, hey, like we see you. Hey, what's up, man?
What's up?
And then next thing I know, I felt a hand go on my shoulder, go, excuse me. And then I look, and it's like, I was MJ. I'm like,
I didn't know that. I have one. It's not as bad as
yeah.
I have one back when the NBA store was first opening, however many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They were, and I don't think they do them anymore. No, they don't because they relocated. But I don't know if you went there in the early days, but they had like a court, like a half court.
I remember that. Yeah, like a spiral staircase in the middle.
Yeah, the spiral staircase all the way up. So they would have like, they bring in a player every now and then to do a little clinic for the kids, something like that. And this is when John Calipari was the head coach of the New Jersey Nets. Mm-hmm. I think that actually lost to Jordan's Bulls in the first round, 96 or 97, one of the two. And there was like crickets at the clinic. There was there was like nobody there, like a handful of kids. So my parents were like, go. And I was, I don't know, like 7, 8 years old, and I was too shy to do it. Little did we know, John Calipari turned into John Calipari. And...
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang. You know how I saw at the old NBA store when I was living in New York City one time, just randomly shopping by himself.
Yeah.
Fat Joe.
That's good. I saw Spike Lee at Nike Town one time. That was
you did? Yeah.
Yeah.
I never told the story that the one time I was leaving work and I was cutting across 3rd Avenue and I was trying to beat the traffic from, but everybody, you don't live in New York City, jaywalking is almost acceptable. If you're not jaywalking, you're not a New Yorker.
I'm in place.
So, yeah. So I'm cutting across, trying to beat the oncoming traffic. And shoulder to shoulder, I ram into somebody and I see a woman's purse just fly everywhere. So I started picking up her stuff in a hurry. So it was my fault. I just wasn't paying attention. I turned, I give it her, and it was Nikki Hilton. I was like, what? She's like, okay, thank you. And she left.
Hi. Carry on with your lives.
Exactly. Yeah.
Could have been
my
an Harper universe.
Yeah, exactly. Could have been. Yeah, that could have been my serendipity moment right there with her. Oh, well, darn it. Anyway, he is Casey Viera. Follow him on X at Casey_Viera. Do that ASAP. We'll be back this Friday with a very special guest. Haven't let it out of the bag yet, but yeah, I think you're going to be really, really.
Wow, he hasn't even told me off camera yet. Wow.
I'll tell you in a few minutes. All right, just give me a few seconds to wrap this up, Casey. All right. So tune in for Friday's episode, and make sure to subscribe on Ken's 5 Plus, iTunes, Spotify. You know what to do. Do that right now. Check out Locked On NBA on YouTube. Subscribe to that as well. So for Casey Viera, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock in this episode of Locked On Spurs.